Hello, I'm Sally Chowers. I'm a Year 3 teacher at Pretty Gate Schools, and I am the outdoor learning lead.
I'm Jane Rogers, and I'm an Environment Officer at Essex County Council that leads on green infrastructure. But I also have another hat, which is I'm a parent of two children that go to Pretty Gate School as well.
November last year, we planted sort of over 2,000 hedge whips around our school perimeter. These were donated to us from the Woodland and Forest Office at Essex County Council. They were also planted around the two boundaries of our current forest school and also the forest school site that we're creating at the moment for our Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 children. We had volunteers from Essex County Council, but also from our school community. So that included parents and grandparents and anyone else we could kind of like grab, literally. And we had children come out to plant some of the hedges. They couldn't do all of them because it was a very big job and it was quite hard work and the weather was pretty atrocious, so we had children come out in small groups from most year groups, but all of the children had an opportunity to see what we were doing, and we had big conversations about why we were doing it and the importance of improving our school's outdoor area, not just for us but for sort of like the wildlife and improving the biodiversity in the site. Our children are extremely excited about the improvements that are being made, and they're constantly asking me in the corridor what's happening next. So it's a real kind of talking point in the school generally. So literally today we've taken delivery of 8 fruit trees, which is going to create our new orchard. Our Year 3 children are going to be planting those tomorrow, so that's very exciting. They're going to be planting them, staking them. There's protective guards that they're going to be placing on them as well, and they would do that during their outdoor learning session tomorrow afternoon. The trees have been donated to us and they're all local Essex varieties. This is going to form not only part of our science curriculum, so it will work in within our science curriculum, but we're also hoping that the fruit that is produced will either be used by the school kitchen or better still in our own sort of design technology cooking lessons. We do a particular project in Year 3 where we learn about Stone Age in the autumn term, so it would be an ideal opportunity to use the fruit in a Stone Age fruit stew, so trying to get everything as cross-curricular as possible and using our outdoor space in pretty much every subject we possibly can. That's our aim. We've also got, we're creating a new forest school area. So we have already got new logs, which were we got from Highwoods Country Park. So we had a link with them, and we've created a log circle. We are going to be putting a fire pit in the middle of that, and we're hoping to do, obviously have fires around it, but also to do some cooking on that as well. So that new forest school area is going to be for our Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 children. So they're excited about that, and we have just got planning permission to create a new pond and a decking area, which is going to be fenced off for sort of like general use, but that will be used in our science lessons and also in outdoor learning sessions. And yeah, it's just, sort of like everything's coming together now. So it's a long time planning, but we've kind of like finally got quite a few things happening. The grant that we obtained, I think we're going to talk about that in a second, but the grant we obtained also enabled us to get some new fencing done around our junior garden, which has collapsed. We're going to have new compost bins, and we are also going to buy guttering, which is going to go on a new shed that we've got for the forest school equipment, to finally use 2 water guts, which were donated to us a couple of years ago and we've never been able to use because we have an internal drainage system. So that would be really good to get them in use as well. So that's, I think, the main things. So I'll be honest, when I first saw the application form, it was a little bit overwhelming because there's quite a lot of criteria and you have to be fairly specific in what you're going to do, what you can do to fulfill that criteria. But as Jane mentioned before, not only is she involved sort of like in that area in her work, but she also has children at the school. So she did hold my hand, I have to say, in kind of getting the application together. It was the Climate Action Challenge Fund that we applied for, and we were lucky enough to get the full kind of allocation, which was £20,000. And as you can hear from sort of like our previous plans, we're doing quite a lot with that. So we're just hoping that, you know, we kind of haven't you know, we can fulfill everything that we're hoping to do. But yeah, it was I think as long as you look at the criteria and you try and match it with what you actually want to do in your school grounds, it makes it less overwhelming. So for anyone that's, you know, planning on doing that themselves, I think that's probably the really important thing. And and the fund themselves, the people involved in the fund themselves, they are at hand to talk to you if you kind of, you know, need to talk to them. So for instance, we've just had to do a review kind of like at the beginning. We've just got the grant, so you know where we're at, and they were really helpful with kind of like helping us to evaluate things so far. So they're kind of there to help, I would say, rather than not. So that's been really positive.
So the Climate Action Challenge Fund was launched by the Essex Climate Action Commission, which is an independent body that was set up, and it's there to support communities such as schools and parishes and small community groups as well, to deliver activities around addressing climate-related issues and trying to encourage behavioural change, which is something that I feel that this school project will do. It is empowering young people, and hopefully that's something that carries through their life. And activities that can include improving your green infrastructure, so your green spaces of the school, energy through renewables, improving the built environment, trying to achieve the net zero, promoting sustainable transport, encouraging reducing waste, reusing, recycling, and having that community engagement as well. So I feel that the funding has been really instrumental in ensuring that successful delivery of the projects and being local based as well. And although there's the importance of our green infrastructure and green spaces due to the Environment Act, the 25-year Environment Plan, and the mandatory biodiversity net gain, and obviously the rise of increase in climate change crisis as well, that there's still really very limited sort of funding out there in terms of recognising the role of green infrastructure in tackling climate change. So I feel this funding actually came at the right time as well. And it's kind of enabled local-based projects and investments to basically mitigate and adapt to climate change. It's got that greater channel for engagement with local communities, improving that quality of life, and that kind of allows the funding to be more widespread across the communities, allowing even more people to basically benefit from the funding. So I think it's been quite crucial, really. It affects all of us, and it doesn't matter how big or small, all actions all add up and creates that ripple effect to basically be able to work together, and then we can be that solution to help address and adapt to climate change.
Yeah, well, actually, interestingly, I've taught a lesson today, which ended up being about Jane Goodall, and we read one of her books, or a book that's about her, which is called Me, Jane, and she had a message at the end which I'm going to pinch, if that's okay, because it really resonated, not just with myself, but with my children in my class. They were really excited by the message that she gave, and literally their reaction to it was, "That's us. That's what we're doing." So that's why it's pure coincidence that it kind of like that lesson happened on on the day that we've been interviewed. But what she says at the end of her book is each one of us makes a difference. We cannot live through a single day without making an impact on the world around us, and we have a choice as to what sort of difference we make. The life of each one of us matters in the scheme of things, and I encourage everyone, especially young people, to make the world a better place for people, animals, and the environment. And my children were so excited when they heard her say that on the YouTube video. And it was just, you know, I think as an educator, we are, and as a school, we are trying to educate our children that they can make a difference. And they really honestly believe that they can, and they do all the time. They do litter picking at lunchtime, they're composting their snack waste. You know, we have a massive sort of like eco-warrior movement going on in the school. And each and every one of our children, I seriously believes that they can make a difference, and they carry that home with them. And that's just such an important message. So I think we're doing that at Pretty Gate Schools.